Coming up on the Sports Desk, seems like every time we start off a new season, the playoffs are just right here. CIF action all around town. See who's marching through the postseason right here in Torrance. Camino basketball works on keeping this new hot streak alive late in their season. See if they've unlocked the key to consistency as it all winds down. Plus, come on, you live in Southern California. You know winter weather does not keep us out of the water. The Sports Desk hits the beach to see how this winter's treating the ocean obsessed. Hey there everybody, welcome to checking out another week on the South Bay sports scene right here on the Sports Desk. I'm Wan Hernandez. Now, it all begins where the regular season ends and playoffs begin. You see, as a high school athlete, it all builds up to one final season to be great and lead others that come behind you. Before the CIF playoff madness begins, no matter what sport you play, that fourth and final year is all finally remembered on one night. Check it out.
Senior night. Like homecoming to the king and queen or graduation to the valedictorian, high school athletes are given one last hurrah to cap off their 4-year career in uniform. Senior student athlete is the end product of 4 years in school colors, practices and games with friends they've known since childhood, all wrapped up in a final home game in front of classmates and family. At West High on this particular night, the Warriors toppled Peninsula 4-0. With playoffs on the horizon and a second place finish in the Bay League long since wrapped up, this is the Warriors' chance to celebrate and reminisce without the usual pressure that comes with the end of a regular season.
I've been teammates with all these guys even since before high school, before club. I've known a lot of the kids in AYSO and even the kids on the other team. I played against them too, and they're some of my ex-teammates. So it felt really good coming out here after 4 years, just getting a win on senior night.
I think the bigger part of it is because they also have their eye toward the playoffs, that they're maybe not understanding of what it is now versus maybe later on understanding how much fun it was.
The fact that underclassmen look up to their fourth-year teammates and work to someday take their leadership roles is a testament to the growth athletes experience through competition. Lead by example, represent your school, and leave behind a legacy. These are the roles of any senior on every team.
It's pretty fun. It's competitive, especially the goalkeepers. There's a lot of goalkeepers, so it's very competitive. And you just got to bring an A game every practice and be a good role model to everybody else.
And, they've gone through the tough battles and they understand how things are going. And there's the ones we expect to lead us, and we also expect them to understand what we're doing and lead us by example or by voice and all that.
It's your last year, so you all bond together. We've been on the team all 4 years with everybody. We all move up, so it's just bonding, and now it's the end.
And while the athletes that are soon moving on to college are the ones with center stage on senior night, it's also an occasion to see the many working pieces that come together and make each season a success. Whether they've been taking you to practice since you were 5, taught you how to play the game from day 1, or committed to being there for every game, senior night is as much a chance to say thank you to parents as it is to say goodbye to 12th graders.
Martin's the photographer for the varsity team. So he comes out every night and takes pictures. He goes home and then takes hours to go through all the pictures and post them online for all the parents to be able to see, what their kids did.
Starting with AYSO, he's been participating in that since back 6 years old.
6 years old, yeah.
And he's come along and he's had a training in goalkeeping for several years. Had great coaching. And I'm just really proud of him. It's been bittersweet. This is the end. This is the culmination of 4 years of hard work, and we'll just see what happens from here.
Reporting for the Sports Desk, I'm Wan Hernandez.
And speaking of playoffs, the North High girls basketball squad joined the crowd at the top of the Pioneer League standings this season, entering tournament play with the number 9 seed in the Division III AAA bracket. Their first opponent of the postseason, they get a home game against Cerritos. All right, like we said, North Torrance Saxons, they're paired up against the Cerritos Dons in that first round of the playoffs. This is the first playoff game for many of the Saxons, and due to some nerves, they get off to a slow start. They get some three-point shots falling, and they're only down 9-8 Cerritos early on. After waking up a little bit, North started to find their rhythm in the second quarter. Cerritos starts putting on the full court press. They're able to score easy buckets off the press break. And after the half, the Saxons are never letting up. They dominated Cerritos both on the defensive end and the offensive end, using it to create some scoring opportunities. After a rough start, North gets the easy win over Cerritos, sends them back home with a 26-point loss.
I mean, some of our girls, it was their first playoff game. Others have played in the playoffs before, but there's always that first game jitters for the playoffs. And basically, I just told them, you're going to come out, you're going to be nervous. We just have to sustain it, settle down from the excitement, and then play our game. I mean, basically, we take away our defense. That's what's been getting us through this year, all year long. And I told the kids, let's celebrate this one tonight and back to work tomorrow, ready to prepare for Saturday.
So the Saxons take that first round momentum with them. They're going to hit the road for a second round game against Indio. North comes out victorious again. Man, they've really got the clamps down on D, allowing just 38 points in that first round win, followed up by allowing just 41 against Indio. So they're entering the quarterfinals of the CIF playoffs, hosting the top-seeded GAR, and these girls have not even given up 80 points combined in playoff competition. Not bad. Watch out for these Saxons. All right, everybody, coming up after the break, so we've closed down the regular season and given you just a taste of how playoffs kicked off in the city of Torrance. See how some other squads around town have started off the postseason when we come back.
We're here today to ask people about marriage.
For starters, what's the best thing about being married?
Who I get to stay married to. Family.
Togetherness.
To me, is having a companion.
This person.
My favorite thing about being married is that I have a partner.
Do you think your marriage is good for more than just the two of you?
Does it influence those around us?
Yeah, I think.
In a positive way?
I think so.
I would hope that people would see that when we're together that we really have a very true affection for each other.
What everybody wants, and we know we're lucky to have it.
The energy we give out in our home, I think, spreads out to other people.
Your marriage just continues to go on and on and on.
Oh, sure, and affect generations after us.
I think it really sort of stabilizes your whole community. It's a cornerstone of a society, right?
Sounds like a good marriage goes a long way.
It touches a lot of people.
Want to improve your marriage? For ideas, go to foryourmarriage.org. A message from the Catholic Church.
They fought for social change. They fought against tyrants. They fought for human rights. Yet behind these achievements are individuals who waged a more personal war. They fought the struggle against mental illness, and they won.
Hi everybody, and welcome back to the Sports Desk. We're going to jump right into those playoff updates as promised. The Lady Knights, the definition of a road-tested team right now, winning their first two playoff games on the road in addition to traveling over 500 miles in just a 3-day period. In the first round of the playoffs, the Lady Knights headed to San Luis Obispo to take on the Templeton Eagles. That long road trip, not going to slow them down, running away with a 78-45 blowout win. Bishop got past Harvard Westlake 57-42 in their second round matchup, and sophomore forward Chelsea Leidy led the way with 17 points and 12 rebounds. After the game, Coach Alexa Johnson recognized Leidy's impact in the lane, saying the sophomore kept them in the game with her strong play in the first half. Despite it being relatively close at the half, with Bishop Montgomery just holding a 29-22 lead, the Knights exploded in the third quarter, leading by as much as 20 points. Leidy wasn't the only Lady Knight to get in on the scoring action in the post, though. Guards Sophia Song and Christine Delapina both drove the lane consistently, combining for 25 points. So, the Knights look to carry over that great post play this week when they're going to take on Sarah Catholic. And unlike the Lady Saxons we saw earlier, the North boys not so lucky. They fall 86-83 in their opening round game against the Hart Indians. Hart got a taste of the Torrance basketball merry-go-round. They beat North in the first round, and as a prize, they get to take on another Torrance team that's been hot in these playoffs, the West Warriors. The Warriors wreaked havoc against the number 3 seeded Indians. High seed for Hart, but their lack of size, something the big man, 6'8", Terrell Carter takes advantage of. He puts up 13 points and 12 rebounds, and hey, what else is size good for? Carter blocks 3 shots against that undersized Hart squad. Carter got some help in this one from front court mates Xavier Basso. Basso also had 13 points but had 2 blocks and pulled down 18 rebounds. Senior guard Ethan Kishimoto led the Warriors' balanced scoring attack with 14 points of his own. Now, you don't get extra points for style, but Carter certainly revved up his teammates and the home crowd, throwing down 3 dunks in the first quarter. Coach Paul Nataki said that those 3 dunks really gave the guys confidence and excitement. That excitement definitely showed as the underdog Warriors downed Hart 64-55. And this is a watershed game for the Warriors as they now get set to play in the first quarterfinal game in recent history, where they'll take on the number 6 seeded Royal. The Torrance High girls also showing some grit, gutting out a tough road win against Rio Mesa in the second round. Balance was the Tartars' calling card as 3 players scored in double figures. Showing the importance of free throws, the team went 16 of 21 to hold off Rio Mesa down the stretch. And not much of a surprise here, the Bishop Montgomery boys just blowing through the playoffs so far. After a 101-36 shellacking of Whittier Christian in the opening round, Bishop quickly polished off 29 palms in the second round, 86-45. Next in line, Harvard Westlake. Now, moving on to the pitch, in a rematch 2 years in the making, the South Boys soccer team defeated Bishop Montgomery 2-1 in the first round of the playoffs. 2 years ago, these same teams faced off in the first round with Bishop Montgomery getting the W. Then freshman Ryosaki Inaba has bitter memories of that match, and this year was able to take the lead role exercising those bad memories. Inaba scored South's 2 goals in the first round match in front of, well, Torrance fans. Next up for the Pioneer League champion Spartans, the winner of the Sierra Vista Paris matchup this week. West Warriors left no margin for error in their 1-0 opening round victory over Capistrano Valley. Neither team scored in a tightly contested first half, but the second half action picked it all up. West took an early 1-0 lead, and the tension turned up when Capo's Nicholas Godfrey appeared to have scored with just minutes remaining. There's no doubt Warriors players and coaches alike holding their breath before the apparent game-tying score by Capo was eventually waved off, allowing the Warriors to come away with the victory. So, West will next attempt to heed coach Mike Shimizu's pleas for aggressiveness against number 2 seeded Loyola this week. Now, taking a look at 2 of the toughest soccer teams right here in Torrance, the Lady Spartans and the Lady Tartars both kicking off strong in the early rounds of these playoffs. South High is set to face off against Warren after they crushed Chino 4-0 in the opening round. Not to be outdone, Tartars come off a 5-0 victory at Sultana. So 2 of the top squads in the southern section right here from the Pioneer League, they combined for 9 goals, each going to pitch a shutout in the opening round of the playoffs. Up next, the Spartans and the Tartars hit the road for the second round. Spartans at Warren and the Tartars will visit Lancaster. All right, coming up after the break, if winter sports are winding down, that means all things winter are winding down around here. Check out some of the South Bay's most dedicated watermen as they soak up the last bit of north swell before ocean turns things down for a few months.
There are thousands of dogs and cats housed in shelters that need your help. Local shelter professionals and volunteers give their heart and soul to help unwanted animals and deserve your support. Americans give millions every year to national animal organizations, but unless you give to your local shelter, you can't be sure that money will make it to the pets that need it most. Adopt, volunteer, and give to your local animal shelter. To find your local shelter, go to humaneforpets.org.
If I ride, I will know the way the trees smell after the rain. I will grow a heart so strong that hospitals will take Tuesdays off. If I ride, road rage will turn into laughter, and oil tankers will haul chocolate milk. And I won't be a boy or a girl. I will just be a rider.
We are this close.
We're this close.
We are this close.
Of wanting
to making history.
This close to changing the world.
We're this close.
This close to making sure no child suffers a crippling disease
ever again.
This close. We are this close to ending polio.
All we need is you.
This close.
If we don't act now, we may lose this chance forever. Help Rotary make history at endpolionow.org.
Hello there, Torrance, and welcome back to the Sports Desk. We're just about winding down for the week here, just like the season is winding down over at El Camino College for the Warriors basketball squad. We've seen them top a ranked opponent in the SEC conference play we've seen them endure a 10-game losing streak. The only thing the Warriors have consistently told us this year is they're striving for consistency themselves, no matter how late in the season may be. Jenny Phillips checks in with the Warriors with this next highlight.
After coming off a huge win against conference leaders Cerritos last week, the Warriors are looking to extend their win streak to 4, which would be their biggest on the season as they host LA Harbor tonight. Warriors coming off to a slow start as the Seahawks hold them to just 16 points in the first half, with no one on Elko scoring more than 1 field goal. Second half, Warriors still looking a little flat-footed as Harbor quickly extends their lead. Elko decides to make things a little interesting, though. They gain a little life, rallying and cutting the deficit to just 7. It was too little too late for the Warriors, though, and they were unable to come back fully for the win. The Warriors are able to cut a 28-point deficit to just 7, with Josh Wilson leading the pack. The sophomore captain had 23 points and 10 boards, but it wasn't enough for these guys. They end their 3-game win streak and drop this one 70-60.
We didn't come out with a lot of intensity the first half, and then even when we played everybody, and then it was kind of a group effort. We were flat tonight. We didn't have a lot of energy, and that's what we lost. It was just lack of focus, lack of effort on all of our parts, and we just came out lazy. We'll come in next week, we'll work hard, and we'll come back out Wednesday for the last home game and try to get a win.
Thanks for that, Jenny. So you guys can catch the Warriors wrap up their season, the last home game of the year against LA Southwest before taking it to the road against Long Beach. And finally, before we head out this week, like we've said, winter sports are winding down, and soon enough, basketball will be giving way to baseball. We'll trade out soccer for boys volleyball, but outside of our traditional competitive sports here in the beach cities, the end of winter means, well, the end of winter. It's that sad time of year for surfers when you know there's less and less north in the water and we creep closer to spring. Soon the South Bay will look more like Green Bay as far as waves are concerned, at least until summer shows up with warm water and tropical storms. We can trunk it and watch kids at surf camps on the beach, but for now, our Visalis is still mixing it up with the guys dedicated enough to suit up and grab what they can before the end of another winter.
Summer is still many months away, where the sun, surf, and sand will bring millions of people to the California coast. But for the die-hard surfers, when the waves are up, they're coming, even if it's 40 degrees. Obviously, it's cold. Is there anything that won't bring you out to go surf?
No, not really. I've surfed in much colder weather than this.
The sun's out, so this is great. It's offshore. It's going to warm up. I'm actually feeling fine right now.
For those of us who haven't been out in weather like this, what does that first kind of dip feel like?
It's a little shocking sometimes. You get over it quick.
It's rough for the first few minutes. I'd say for the first 5 minutes when it's this cold, your hands and feet just really hurt. But after that, it's fine. And after about 10 minutes, you're totally warm. You just get used to it.
I grew up in Malaga Cove. I've been doing it for 42 years. This is what I love to do. It keeps me young. I'm 54 years old, and just makes me feel good. Keeps me in shape spiritually, physically. So that's what I love to do.
You get out there when you're a kid and you get the bug, and you're set for life. So it's a lot warmer in the water than it is out here.
Your feet and your head get a little cold out there still, so you gotta kind of grin and bear it. But when it's all said and done, I've never had a day surfing when I come out where I don't feel better than I have.
Thanks for that, Vi. Now, tying that in with some more prep sports, the South Bay Surf League will be in town the first weekend of March. March 2nd at Avenue I, West High, North High, Bishop Montgomery, and South will all be facing off against one another. A perfect storm of Torrance surf teams competing in the SBSL. A little more about the South Bay Surf League. It's been a presence in our surf community here for over 20 years, combining scholastics and surfing for local students. And if they came out of the South Bay, then they've competed in the South Bay Surf League at some point these last couple decades. Holly Beck and Alex Gray, the two most recognizable names out of our area that competed in the SBSL as student athletes and are now making huge names for themselves in the sport of surfing. Just two of over 4,000 local surfers to have come through the organization. South High, one of the original 4 schools to compete in the SBSL, the league has now grown to 14 schools and over 350 surfers. So get to the beach, check them out, root for your school on March 2nd. All right, anything else around town you'd like to see off the court or off the field? Send us an email or a phone call anytime to let us know what you'd like to see featured on the Sports Desk, or sometimes I get lonely. Just say, hey, the Sports Desk at torranceca.gov. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for us this week. We're still in the middle of that playoff action, so make sure you keep checking us out right here at the Sports Desk. See you next week.